Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. We're back, more bite-sized business advice, and we got a fun one today lined up. Before we go any further, welcome in Claudia Wyatt. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
I am excited to have you. So for those of you listening and subscribing, first of all, welcome back. Welcome in if this is your first time. Claudia was referred by a previous guest, Lori Scheibel. I have no idea how many episodes ago. We'll link it in the description. And she says she might be more fun than Lori. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens, Lori. Shout out to you. Claudia is calling you out as a friend, but we're going to dive in here. We have an exciting episode. I think an important episode. You've dubbed yourself the self-doubt eraser. Is that true? What is that?
That's true.
How is somebody the self-doubt eraser? First of all, we're all struggling with that, but tell me, what is it that you help your clients with?
I help people believe in themselves. And self-doubt is one of the biggest reasons that people don't believe in themselves. They're riddled with the noise and the old stories and the roles that they think they have to play and be. And I go in there and I go, listen, we're going to just take that and we're going to scrub it right out. And we're going to start tapping into what makes you great.
It sounds easy, but I have a feeling it's probably not that simple of a process when you actually get in there and start uncovering this kind of stuff. So, okay, well, let's just have a foundation here. Self-doubt. I'm pretty sure we all have it at some degree, or we've had it in the past and we've overcome it. When someone approaches you because this is the problem that they're presenting in their lives, or it's holding them back in their businesses, I'm sure this happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. Where do you start with uncovering what's really going on?
Well, we have to get to the root of the issue. There's always a root, right? That's how we grow, is we find out what's going on below and then we uncover it. When you have self-doubt, you have old stories, you have noise. What is your inner critic telling you can't do things? We have to go back to that critic, because that critic is not you. It's not your voice. We have to find where that critic came from. And a lot of times it comes from somebody who was important to us in our lives, that said something that our brain responded to in a different way. Whether the intent was good or bad by that person, we don't know. But how we absorbed it can actually create a chain reaction of self-doubt and noise that holds you back from everything you want to do.
That's interesting. So this question here, I'm doing a little research. I'm curious, what age do you typically find these little voices start to creep up in people when you go back in time and uncover it?
The root usually comes from like as young as elementary school. Like it's that far back. Junior high, those type of ages when you're really trying to find yourself and try things out, and you're so judgment zone on yourself. When you're a little kid, you try to experience things because you don't have any boundaries. There's excitement and everything is fun, but then someone starts disciplining you or shutting you down. And regardless of the intent, most of the time the intent is to protect you, but you take it a different way. And it's interesting because I didn't uncover some of these noises until I was in my 30s or 40s, that they were actually there. And I was like, oh, hold on. This isn't even my noise. This isn't even my story, but this is how I interpret it. And it has caused this reaction of my life with people I've connected with and things that I've done and how I've held myself back because I kept hearing that voice in my head that wasn't mine. And so you have to put those thoughts on trial. You have to say, wait a minute, is that true? No, it's not true. Where's the evidence that that's true? And there isn't any, because you go, wait a minute, that's not my story. But you can change it. You don't have to say, this is all there is. This is how it has to be. I have to keep going this way. You can stop at any time and say, I'm not listening to that anymore. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah, I love that. Put those thoughts on trial. That's a powerful way to think about it. But okay, so when we're looking at I'm kind of looking at it from the other perspective. Like, yeah, we need to do this for ourselves, but I always like to put myself in the shoes of someone who may be imparting those beliefs on others. I have little kids. I haven't found a way to not do this aside from not talking to them, but that would cause more damage too. So there's no there's no right or wrong answer. But also with employees and with coworkers, I always kind of think like, how is what I'm saying going to be heard by them or interpreted by them, because they have their own inner critics too. So what do you, I mean, how do we kind of manage ourselves when we're talking to other people? How do we recognize that maybe we're triggering something and get around that?
Open communication is going to be huge. Get your teams together in groups and talk these things out. If you have something that you want to talk about with your team, you need to know how they respond, how they communicate, how they're interpreting it from what you've said. And the only way you're going to know that is by getting feedback. So you can't be afraid as a leader to get feedback from your team, even if it's not putting you in the shiniest light. And you need to let them know that your intentions are pure. Your goal is to try to help them, that you care for them. If they know that you care about them, I have said this to many people that I've worked with, teams, individuals. I said, you know, in your heart of hearts that I care about you as a root. And they're like, yes. I said, so no matter what I say, if you know that I'm trying to help you, whether or not you interpret it that way, I appreciate if you call me out and say, hey, I don't really like how that sounds, or this is how I feel when you say that, or this is what I hear when you say that. I will then go, oh, well, I need to say that a different way. That's not what I mean. Because if my intent is not being put in the right light, you're not going to help anyone. So you have to have that open communication, because if you don't, your people, your teams, the people you're coaching, the people you're speaking to, your family, your friends, your kids, whatever, you need to make sure that you guys have that back and forth and that everyone knows, look, I love you. I care about you. I want to help you be your best self. If there's something that I say that you feel isn't quite right, your body language is showing me, you're reading the face, I'm going, you're not picking that up the way I'm putting it down. But I'm not going to know unless you communicate it. So you have to be comfortable communicating. This is how I feel. This is how that sounds. This is how I'm interpreting that. And open that dialogue. Don't be afraid to get that dialogue from your people.
Yeah, that's important too, to not only be willing to accept it, but almost mandate it to a certain extent. Like, you have to give me feedback or else I can't lead you. If I don't know what you're thinking or how you're interpreting what I'm saying, there's no way I could ever change or be an effective leader. And I'm actually, that your answer brought something up. So the other day I posted something on social media. I think it was making fun of the current generation in the gentle parenting trend, and whether you have kids or a gentle parent or not. My only concern with it is we're we're mistaking respect for the tone, and they are not the same thing. And that's very, very important. So the joke I made was, can you imagine having to talk to this generation in the workplace in 20 years by saying, hey, sweetie, I really need you to attend this meeting because it's very important. And my argument was, because I got yelled at by the social media trolls, um, my argument was, there has to be an underlying knowledge and knowingness that you care. And then you can say whatever you have to say to get the message across. Yes, be respectful, but respect and caring are not associated with tone. So I'm curious, from your point of view, how do you make sure that you're communicating with people? How do you make sure that they know that you care first and you respect them, and then tone is kind of irrelevant? Because that, to me, is the foundation we need to start with, and we need to keep reminding people that it's there.
Absolutely. You're walking the walk. Your actions are going to speak louder than your words, right? People are going to see what you're doing, see how you're responding, and that is going to shape the situation to be like, okay, I get where she's coming from because I've seen what she's done. I've seen her go, okay, this is wrong. And I need you to be at this meeting because it's important for you to be at this meeting, regardless of how my voice sounds. Because if I'm saying it's important for you, then it must be important for you because I've shown you why it's important. Our actions always speak louder than our words, because words can be interpreted, but actions, we actually see what you're doing.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned it already. Body language. Body language is, I think, the biggest percentage of communication. So words and tone are almost meaningless if your body's not backing it up in person context, and even in this context on video, I mean, I can feel you speaking, you can feel me, you see my Italian hands going everywhere. Look at me, out of control today. But we've gotten off track of the topic of the interview. That was a very good tangent, because this is a two-way conversation. If you are triggering somebody else's inner critic, you need to know that and be aware of it and have that communication open, which I think as leaders we tend to forget a lot of times, because we're so focused on what we're doing and the agenda of the company, which is fantastic. We're leading the company, right? But in order to have a holistic culture and a team of people who are going to pull the mission forward with you, it's a two-way street. So as a leader, as an entrepreneur, a business owner, we have our own voices that are telling us how we should act and show up in the workplace, and maybe are triggering us to not be as effective as we should be. So where do you start with people? I know you said uncover the root cause. As far as rewriting that voice, what do we do to start to erase that inner critic and be our own best cheerleader?
Function versus purpose, right? If you find your purpose, what is in your heart, what is fueling your fire, that will always override the noise. Going back to that why are you doing this? Why are you working here? Why are you involved in this conversation? There's always a root of, I want to be here because I want to make a difference. I'm doing this to make a difference. Really making a difference is at the root of everything. We want to be our best selves. We want to show our best selves, but we also need to know that we have messy parts. We have things that have shaped the way we're going, the direction we've had, the voice that we have. Those aren't bad. And they actually help us connect each other, because other people then go, okay, I see you've been through the messy stuff too. You have a purpose and a mission because of the messy stuff, because of the noise, in spite of it. So you have to cheer yourself on. You're going to have those days when you're like, man, this is just not going well. I don't know if I can do this. You can do it. You just might have to do it differently. But when you believe in yourself and you go back to that purpose, that passion, that root of, I want to make a difference, it will fuel you moving forward. And regardless of whether you fail forward, whether you get stuck in your messy stuff for a minute, because that happens, that mind can take over and you start spinning and you go, oh, I'm in it. It's okay to be in it. Feel it, understand it, go back to where it's coming from. Why did this happen? But then let it go. Go back to, I can do this, and give yourself pep talks. I do it all the time. It's like, okay, you have to be your own best friend. You have to be your own best cheerleader and say, I'm going to give it a try regardless of what happens. I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to see what difference I can make. Because if you try and do something and fail or succeed, it's better than not trying at all.
Amen to that. That's so huge. And I'm also, I'm thinking all of the times in business when we do try and we do fail over and over and over and over, because that's the game of business at the end of the day, right? But do you have any tricks or tips that you teach to your clients? Because the belief does start to erode at some level. If you try something 52 times, like you've heard the story of Walt Disney and Colonel Sanders, KFC, thousands of times they failed. That's a different level of belief. I think we a lot of times put a number on our own attempts, and we're like 7. If it's 7, if it's past 7, like it's a no for me, and we stop trying. But like, how do you get people to just truly believe over and over relentlessly, like those guys who famously had success? Because that's what it takes. Like, how do you help people see that?
There's a lot of lessons in failure. And if you start expecting to fail, it doesn't affect you as much. If you're like worried about failing, here's the thing, you're going to embrace the failure and just say, you know what? I'm going to do this 150 times until I figure it out. And I'm going to figure out a different way, because each time you actually are gaining knowledge on, okay, that didn't work. That was an epic fail. All right. But that means I need to do this a little bit different, or that a little bit different, and try it again. And once you keep doing that and going, I'm going to fail, and it's fine. We got to take the bad word out of failure, because it's not a bad word. It's the biggest lesson. You will learn more from failure than you will from success. And you will find that inner resilience when you keep trying. And that is a gift. That inner resilience is the person inside you that's fighting for the win. And the person who's fighting for the win, regardless of the failure, regardless of judgment, regardless of if and when, who, there, why, how, is going to just do it anyway. When you get to the other side and it actually turns out right, that is an epic celebration. And celebrations need to happen. Little steps, big steps, they all count. We are so bad at celebrating ourselves, but we can live in a failure from 1985 for the rest of our life. Let it go, see the lesson. And I know in the beginning that's going to be really hard because you're going to be stuck in the whole, I failed again. You did. So what? Who hasn't failed? Do you know one person in this entire world that hasn't failed at something? If you can tell me who that person is, I will let you off the hook. There isn't one because everyone has failed at something, even if it's from the time you were a little kid and learning how to tie your shoes or riding a bike or learning how to swim. All those things, you didn't get it on the first time. The people who run marathons didn't win the first day. They had to train for it. If you think of your failures as training exercises, it will reshape how you value them.
I like that. Yeah, take the negative connotation away from the word fail. That in itself is a good tip, but it's just training, right? It's building those muscles. It's the same thing as going to the gym. You literally tear your muscles apart to build them up. Failure is the same thing. It's just a nasty word in today's culture, but I love that. So when you are in that moment of failure, I'll use air quotes because we don't have a better term right now, but when you're in that moment of failure, there's two paths to overly simplify it, right? I love just making things as ridiculous as possible. There is the persistence path, and then there is the other one that you and I both love, and that is the shiny object path. The, oh, this isn't working, but this might, and I could go over there. How do we avoid that path? And just speak to me and you, because I'm sure we're the only two people that deal with this problem on the planet. How do me and you avoid the shiny object?
Boundaries and learning how to say no are two big ones that I had to adapt to. Shiny object syndrome is real, and I am wearing the t-shirt because I have lived in it for a very long time before I even knew what it was. Not to my own fault. I get very excited about things and I'm like, oh, that could be good. And we could do this and we could do that. And then I get all off track and it goes into this whole different thing. And then I'm off the course of where I'm supposed to be because I got lost over here. It's almost a method of avoidance in a lot of times for me because I'm like, ooh, I'll just put this down and then I'll come back to it. But I'm not going to come back to it because I'm going to get lost in 25 other things. And then, what was I supposed to be doing again? Where was I at? Where are we going with this? Yes, it happens. Shiny object syndrome is really, really hard when you get excited about things and when you want to try more things and you find luxury in exploring. But you have to realize sometimes it's at your own expense. And usually what's happening is you're going to be lost in it. So putting up boundaries, putting up situations of lists. This is important. Where am I at right now? How is this in alignment with me? Is this defeating from my mission, my purpose, my why? Is it a shiny object that I don't really need right now? Yes, probably.
That hit too close to home. You were speaking directly to me, but I asked you to, so I appreciate that. Something that I do actually that has helped me, and I don't know, maybe it'll help you as a listener too, and maybe you do this too, Claudia, but I always get that shiny object syndrome with like software tools and websites and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I must try it now. I've created a folder on my internet browser, the look at this later folder, and I will bookmark it in that folder and I will not look at it for like 2 to 3 months. We work at What If, we work in quarterly sprints. So in order for us to do anything new anyway, it's got to happen in the next quarter. It can never happen now. So I'll look at it in 2 to 3 months. And if it's still cool, I may pursue it. But a lot of the time, like 95% of the times, it's like, what is this web? Why did I think this was cool? Am I stupid? Like what is wrong with me?
No, you're not stupid. You're definitely not stupid.
That's that inner voice, right?
Yeah.
It's so mean.
I'm walking that back for you, by the way. I'm like, absolutely not. You're not stupid. I get it. I totally get it. I do the same thing. I bookmark things, I save them, and then I come back to them and I'm like, why do I have this in here? I forgot all about this. Is this even important? Why am I saving these recipes of things I'm never going to cook?
How do you cook? Why do I have recipes? Oh, that's so funny. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I don't know. You and Lori need to be the judge and the listener. Who was more fun? Was it Claudia? Was it Lori? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. But Claudia, no, you have a ton of resources for us on your website. So I want to toss that on the screen here. So if the listener, if you listening, you're thinking, okay, maybe I have this is present in my life, or I'm just not fully sure how I take control of that inner voice. Claudia, what would you say on your website is the place for people to go to take that next step and get past that inner critic?
I actually have a little freebie in there. It's called Silencing Your Inner Critic and Take Your Power Back. It's a webinar that I've done that you can do at your own time. And it's great because you get me and my energy, and I'm going to be literally cheering you on to help you knock out that noise. There's some helpful tips and tools in there too, so that when I'm not with you, you know how to overcome that.
That's fantastic. I encourage you to go check that out. We all have the inner voice, right? It's always there. Make it work for you, not against you. That's the secret success hack that I got out of this episode. So Claudia, thank you for being here. This was a lot of fun. It went very quickly. So you, the listener, make sure you're subscribed to this ridiculous show where we help you grow your business every single day for 20 minutes. This is the bite-sized business advice that you need to take your business and your life to the next level. Thanks for listening to Harmonious at Lunch. We'll see you on the next episode.